Welcome to the Rebel Health Coach Podcast with Tom Underwood. Armed with truth and knowledge, your journey to a healthy lifestyle can be obtained. Preventative wellness, quality nourishment, and daily fitness routines dramatically improve your outlook on life as a whole. And you'll find the support and info you need to accomplish a healthier lifestyle here. Together, we can empower each other along our journey to an amazing you.
Chel, welcome to the Rebel Health Coach Podcast. I could go off a list and read everything about you, but I'd rather have you tell the listeners about yourself. So why don't we start there?
Oh, goodness. Okay. Well, I have been practicing as a hypnotherapist for over a decade. I did not think that hypnosis was real before I became a hypnotherapist or, investigated it as a modality. So very surprised to find myself, if you had asked me 20 years ago, what are you going to be? I would not have said I'm going to be a hypnotherapist. I would have been like, no. I launched a guided meditation podcast, February 2015. So I consider that kind of hypnosis light because it's guided meditation to help you shift from one mindset to another and from stress to relaxation, from anger to neutrality. I used to be a more quote unquote proper silent meditator years ago and just found that it was more important for me to have those little shifts throughout the day. I think people kind of refer to it now as mindfulness, to be mindful of things. Okay. So I created a podcast to help people do that. We're busy and we don't have a lot of time. And so that's why I made the podcast short, usually about 10-ish minutes long. I'm also a single parent who's raising her now teenage son 24/7, 365, completely solo in fabulous Columbus, Ohio. And when he is done with school here in the next 2 years, I plan on taking my business. It's in transition from a brick and mortar. The hypnotherapy is in transition from brick and mortar to online, and the podcast, of course, and go and travel and be location independent and, just continuing to do the work that I do, but to do it out in traveling in the world more.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
And it takes some planning to transition like that, but it's totally, totally doable.
Right. Matter of fact, there was a contest on Facebook that you could win this camper. And I was like, man, I'm gonna enter. I don't usually enter those post-like things.
Right.
But I was like, man, if I could just win that, I would just pack up and take off.
Yeah, right? Yeah, and you could probably do your work with a little transitioning
exactly
from the camper.
I mean, yeah, exactly. I have to tell the listeners, Chel is responsible for me getting into this podcast realm mostly because I met her at a health coach summit down in Florida, and her speaking, part of her topic for 3 days was podcasting. So here I am today podcasting with Chel Hamilton.
You caught the bug.
Yes, I did. And it's fun.
Yeah. Well, I'm a huge fan of podcasting. I mean, yes, it takes some time. Yes, it has learning curves, but the cost of, marketing the work that you do, or, if you're not doing it for business purposes in any way, just the cost of your hobby, of sharing your passion to the world, it's very, very low cost. And there's really nobody there telling you, no, you can't do this. You just do it. It's kind of the Wild West. And I love that maverick spirit of podcasting. It makes me smile every time I think of it. In fact, I'm smiling right now.
And you just got nominated for an award coming up.
Yes. Yes.
Chel Hamilton's show is Meditation Minis.
Yeah, there's a annual, well, now annual, podcasting didn't really exist in the form that it is now until fairly recently. It's existed for a while, but not in this more mass consumed form. And they have an annual podcasting awards ceremony, and they nominate 10 shows from each category. And this year, Meditation Minis was nominated with some other really great shows across all the categories. So I am super pleased that it doesn't even need to win. Just nominee, is huge.
Especially when you started in 2015, correct?
Yeah.
I mean, that was just the cusp of this podcast taking off.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had over 3 million downloads at this point.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. And for a long time, I didn't even publish regularly. Like maybe I would publish 4 in 1 month, and then maybe I wouldn't publish for a month, and then maybe I'd publish like 2 in a week, and then I wouldn't publish again for 3. Consistency was not one of my watchwords. I am now much more consistent. But at the beginning, juggling everything, the podcast oftentimes fell to the low list of priorities.
Wow. Yeah. It's crazy. You think about some of the podcasters that have been in this since 2005 and and it's crazy how much it's expanded. Oh, we got a dog.
Sorry, Benny.
That's okay.
Benny, if you want to go check out who's downstairs, you should just physically go there instead of sitting here like a lazy dog barking.
And what kind of dog is Benny?
He is a little rescue. We believe he's a Bichon of the Cotton de Tulare variety, but basically he's just a little piece of white fluffy stuff.
Fur?
Yeah. Got him at the dog shelter. He's the first small dog I've ever had, but he is definitely big on personality.
Oh, yeah. Small dogs are cool.
Yeah, he's been really great. I've had him now. He's like 11. He's getting older.
Yeah, I've got 2 rescue boxers, and I don't know. I love them to death, and I love anybody that rescues animals because there's so many of them that need to be rescued.
Totally.
And dogs are like one of the best pets for unconditional love.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have a dog and a little cat. They get along very well.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So, hypnotist, how did you go from the hypnotist aspect of it to the meditation aspect of it?
That's a great question. When you're doing hypnotherapy, not stage hypnosis, but hypnotherapy, you use a lot of guided imagery, and guided meditation is guided imagery. So it is a natural fit. Those two things really do go together, which is why I consider guided meditations to be hypnosis light. So it seemed like a natural fit, but I will tell you that doing a meditation-based podcast was not my original idea for my podcast. I was actually going to do like a coaching call podcast or an interview show. I recorded some episodes even of one of 3 different show ideas that I had. And it was because I was not wanting to have the identity of being some meditation guru person, because I'm definitely not down with that. I am not a guru. I am just another human being on the planet trying to figure stuff out.
Right. Now, I remember back in the 75, I'm going to date myself, but a friend of mine and I signed up to go to this transcendental meditation class.
Yeah.
And I remember that was back when the Maharishi and it was the Beatles were into the Maharishi. And, and I remember getting assigned a mantra. Mm-hmm. To this day, I don't remember a lot about the 70s but I remember that mantra.
Well, Well, yes, a sound-focused mantra is one type of meditation practice. It's my understanding, though, with TM that you don't actually do it out loud. So that would be just kind of a mental focal point that you would use. And there's lots of different kinds of practices. I think that just kind of experimenting and finding things that work for you is always best. And TM has definitely helped a lot of people, get to that calmer place. That for me is what meditation is all about. I meditate or step into, I like to say, a meditative state in my body and mind throughout the day. Because if I am able to be in a calm state, then I can be clear and make better decisions no matter what life is throwing at me. And that's how I use meditation, is to get calm so that I can get clear, so that I can respond to life with the best possible decisions rather than just knee-jerk reacting emotionally because, of something I saw on Facebook. Oh my God, I can't believe they're posting that. To just go, okay, let's just bring a little mindfulness, a little calm into this. And maybe they started drinking at noon and that's why they posted that. And
oh yeah, you can see my post when I'm drinking. I usually post. It's funny because I'll usually get on a roll and start listening to bands on well, it used to be Rhapsody, but now Napster bought it. And I'll start posting album covers. It's like, okay, Tom's drinking again.
Sure sign that Tom has been drinking.
Yes.
He'll post album covers on Facebook.
Yep, exactly.
I'll be sure to look out for that.
Oh man. Anyway, one of the reasons that I enjoy your podcast, and we're going to get into a little bit about your podcast, but stress is at an all-time high in the country.
Yeah. We
are overworked for the most part. We all have busy lives, and stress is become unmanageable for a lot of us. Stress is one of the legs of the three-legged stool of disease.
Mm-hmm.
And managing stress is very important. But stress is also important, and stress is like a guitar string. The right amount of tension is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Because stress drives us to complete our goals. But also, if you over-tighten those strings on the guitar will bow or the strings will bust.
Right.
And I think in that sympathetic nervous system mode of fight or flight that we live in causes a lot of disease, and the object is to stay in the parasympathetic mode of rest and digest. And meditation is probably one of the best, in my opinion, ways to stay there.
Or to get there, when you need to.
Right. And I try and meditate daily, but one of the biggest problems I have when I meditate, and you can cover this as we go, is that when I put your podcast on, my mind is like a revolving to-do list.
Mm-hmm. So when it's a revolving to-do list, what do you say to yourself about that in the moment? Or how do you feel about it in the moment? You're sitting there, you're quote unquote trying to meditate, trying to listen to a guided meditation, and your to-do list is going in your mind. What are you saying to yourself about that, or what are you feeling, or both?
I keep saying, go back to the meditation, go back to the meditation, go back to the meditation.
Okay.
So go back to the guided meditation,
mm-hmm.
do the breathing, so take us through this. How does one actually meditate? Or your podcast is amazing, and it helps me because, except for the one time when I was driving, listening to it.
I do remember you telling me that story. Yeah, do not listen to my podcast when driving, even if you think you're really awake.
Especially in Atlanta.
Yeah, just don't do it. And anything that tells you to close your eyes, don't listen to that while driving. Well, before we move into, I think where you're going with this how to meditate question, let's go back to the chattering mind. So your mind's job is to think. That's what it's going to do. And for people who have a tendency to hold on to thoughts, I personally have ADD, and there's a little bit of kind of an obsessive compulsive behavior in thinking in that way for me as well, due to some underlying anxiety issues, all of which are so much better now. Like when I tell people that I have these things who know me, they're like, what? What are you talking about? But I used to get panic attacks and just, it was not as good as it is now. I haven't had a panic attack in a really long time. So it's really good that you're saying, go back to the meditation, but maybe a better thing is just to smile, like physically smile when you notice that you've gotten yourself distracted. And then just go back, kind of brush those thoughts aside and then go back to whatever your focal point is, whether it's listening to somebody talking or paying attention to your breathing, whatever that focal point is. But to physically smile at those distraction stories that come up and then just kind of brush them aside. I think Pema Chodron says to just label them just thinking, and just kind of set them aside. This is actually why you are supposed to meditate, is to learn how not to always get caught up in our thoughts. Our thoughts are just thoughts. They aren't us. Our feelings are just feelings. They aren't us. But when we're caught up in them, it feels like our thoughts are us. It feels like our feelings are us. Meditating, I always like to think of it as brushing your teeth. You do it because you want your teeth to last. Sometimes you do it because you want to have fresh breath, but most of the time you just do it because you know it needs to be done in order to keep healthy teeth. Most of the time you just do it. Once in a while it feels amazing and like it's just the best thing in the world. So I would try that. Smile, set the thoughts aside. Don't judge yourself for it. Your brain's job is to think, and it's all good. The fact that you're continuing to sit and to do this, you are training your mind for greater focus. And that greater focus, that greater ability to focus, will strengthen you in other areas of your life as well, with work, with relationships, with sports, all of it.
Exactly. Okay, cool. I get that. Mm-hmm. I will try that.
And then with the stress thing, just meditating in a brief moment, once you've kind of trained your body what meditation feels like, what calm feels like. You don't even have to use the word meditation. What calm feels like. You can step back into that calm place more easily when you train yourself regularly to go there. And so even just taking 5 deep sighing breaths, when you've trained yourself to associate that with a more relaxed state, just before you eat, if you take 3 deep sighing breaths, that's going to engage your parasympathetic response. It's going to immediately begin to lower cortisol levels. It's going to allow you to digest your food better just because you took 3 deep sighing breaths and have associated that with a more relaxed state.
Instead of sitting down, gulping it down in front of your computer.
Which is like the worst thing you can do because you're in full-on cortisol, your system is in fight or flight. And, when we're in fight or flight, our digestive system does not work properly. It either evacuates everything or it stops moving.
Exactly.
Yep. 3 deep sighing breaths. That will help take care of that.
I just found myself doing that while we were on this podcast. And now a word from our sponsor. We'll be back in a minute.
We all know that eating healthy is a part of becoming a better person. But if you're finding the organic and non-toxic products too expensive or hard to find, then ThriveMarket.com, the healthy online shopping club, is your solution. Like the Costco meets Whole Foods for everything healthy online, you'll get the best organic and non-GMO brands up to 50% off retail prices, shipped nationally to your door for free within 2 to 3 days. When you become a member, ThriveMarket.com will donate a free membership to a low-income family, teacher, or veteran, so we can all thrive together. You never have to pay full price for healthy food again. Go to ThriveMarket.com/TheRebelHealthCoach. to get your free jar of coconut oil and 15% off your first order. This offer is valued at $18 and available for our listeners only on this special link. So here it is again, thrivemarket.com/The Rebel Health Coach.
So what are some of the practices or like tell a little bit of listeners about your meditation mini podcast, because it's one of the my go-tos to meditate because it's guided.
Right.
And like I enjoy my Orange Theory workouts because I don't have to think.
Right.
It's guided.
Yep. And for some people, that is key to help us quiet our mind when we just kind of give somebody else the reins, right? So with the podcast, what I try to do is I try to keep things short, sweet, focused, to the point, so that you can scroll down the list of episodes and just pick whatever feels like, oh, that sounds really good. I want to do that today. And I do a mix of some shows are pure relaxation. Others are more mental mind shift focused, and others are an actual meditative practice. So that, if you do want to sit silently for 5 to 25 minutes, you might have a nose focused breathing focal point that you can use, or practice point that you can use. Or you might do a sound meditation as a practice for your, quote unquote, silent or more proper non-guided practice. So I try to mix all of it in and also use some of the best imagery and journeys most loved by my clients as well. Because when people are working with me one-on-one in a hypnotherapy setting, it's basically like the podcast, but completely customized for their issues. And I will blend things together that I feel, in my experience, will help them achieve their goals more quickly.
Okay, let's go into your practice as a hypnotherapist.
Mm-hmm.
I know the hypnotists, the stage hypnotists are just, that's not what you do. Because
well, I could do that, but that's not what I do now.
Right. So hypnotherapy can help a person in many, many ways.
Oh yeah.
I mean, common causes or common things that people come to a hypnotherapist for are smoking sensations or smoking, weight loss. But basically, I mean, take us through some of the things you deal with as a hypnotherapist, and in the show notes, I'll tell you people where to find you, but take us through some of that.
Yeah. So pretty much everybody knows somebody who quit smoking using, group hypnosis. And weight loss, like you said, is another area. Now, weight loss really is, when you're using hypnotherapy, it really is like having a personal trainer for your brain to help change a lot of those behaviors, beliefs, feelings, to install new coping devices for emotional eating, all of that. One of the areas that hypnotherapy is highly effective in, that I think does not get nearly enough talk, is anything that's anxiety related. So whether it's generalized anxiety, panic attacks, fear of flying, public speaking anxiety, anxiety around social situations. Hypnotherapy is brilliant for these areas, because basically when you're in these anxiety pictures in your mind, when you think a scary thought, your body starts to respond as though that thought were real. And because hypnotherapy deals directly with the subconscious mind where these pictures and feelings live, it is able to very quickly and effectively retrain the brain to make positive, more calming, relaxing pictures, which then gives you those feelings in those old situations.
Okay.
There's really three main kinds of people that I get in my practice. One kind is the entrepreneur or CEO type, where they basically, I call it living in the pressure cooker. There are some people who just live in a pressure cooker. Those are clients that I see a lot, and I tend to see them weekly or every other week because they are constantly living in a pressure cooker, and there's things that we need to address and let steam off. Then you have the kind of person who's just in a temporary pressure cooker, some kind of transition going on in their life, where they're just really feeling the pressure. Those tend to be people that I might see for 3 to 5 sessions. And then the third type tends to be kids and teenagers who are having issues with school, or maybe they want to up their game with their sports performance. That is another area that I see people, of course there's people outside of those 3 areas, but those are the main ones that I see the most.
Okay.
And when I say kids, I mean 12 and up.
Yeah, okay. Especially in today's society, kids in school there's a lot of pressure on them.
Oh yeah. And social media, and it can be really difficult. And a lot of them, they're playing sports and they want to be better and they have some confidence issues, and hypnotherapy can really, really help with that.
I was trying to think, when you said sports, I believe even Tiger Woods, I'm not going to say anything about his recent incident, but even Tiger Woods went to a hypnotherapist at one point when his game was starting to go down.
Yes, it is my understanding that is the case. It was a long time ago before he has had these injuries. I think that Tiger Woods has probably had some chronic injuries for way longer than he has, admitted. But yes, it's my understanding he went to a hypnotherapist, and he had a thing where he his post-hypnotic suggestion was he would blink 2 or 3 times, and that it was specifically focused on his putting game.
Oh, that's awesome. Blink 2 or 3 times. That's, yeah. I mean, living in a pressure cooker, I get that, because, and I've been wanting to reach out to you, when I actually reached out to you at one point, but I just couldn't do it at the time. So, but, I think with my life is going to school, working full time, the podcast, trying to maintain a healthy relationship, and just life.
Yeah. It's a lot.
I mean, it's a lot. And I use your meditation to help me through some of this stuff. But like I said, I get frustrated with myself a little bit when I do this.
Mm-hmm.
But, I appreciate the hints on just letting it go and smiling, because none of us smile enough, in my opinion. But
I would agree with you completely.
So your hypnosis hypnotherapy is a huge part of your business. And then you just came out with a album that you can buy on your website. Now, the show notes will be in there, but it's called the Mind Chill or Mind Chill.
Mental Chill.
Mental Chill.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, that's a new project. I had people for quite some time ask for longer guided meditations. But, the show is called Meditation Minis, so that didn't really work.
Right.
And I finally decided to try putting together a hour long. It's actually about 3 20-ish minute meditations, but it's seamless. The music is the same throughout, so that you can put it on repeat and just get super chill, either for 20 minutes or for the full hour or even all night. And that's the Mental Chill project, focused on helping people get to sleep better and lower their cortisol levels so that they can get back to being, a better self.
Okay. Sleep.
Mm-hmm.
This is an issue that a lot of people struggle with.
Yeah, me too. I have struggled with insomnia off and on my whole life. It's funny. I always laugh that the stuff that I love working on with clients are struggles that I myself have had in the past and have overcome.
Oh my. Yeah, that's, I'm one of those people that the tornado could come through the house and I would still be sleeping. I don't even wake up for a thunderstorm.
Wow.
But I know sleep is a huge factor in from my studies, a huge factor in disease.
Oh, yeah. Like the three most important things every day: good sleep, good food, and at least 30 minutes of exercise activity.
Right. So sleep, can you help people with sleep through hypnosis?
Oh, yeah. They can just download the Mental Chill album, and that's a great way to start. But yes, hypnosis definitely helps with sleep. Good guided meditations can help with that. What we need to do, and there's actually 3 or 4 insomnia-focused episodes on the podcast as well. So that would be some free help that people could snag for that. What most people do with insomnia is they picture during the day, when they think about going to sleep at night, they picture the struggle with the bed and how they're not going to sleep and how it's just going to be such, a hassle and a struggle and a fight. And when you do that, what you're actually doing is you're telling your subconscious mind, because your subconscious mind is not logical. It doesn't work with words. It works with feelings and pictures. You're telling your subconscious mind that that's what you want it to do when you get into bed at night. And so it does.
Okay.
So that's one of the several pieces that are wrapped around the overall insomnia issue. Now, some people are naturally lighter sleepers than others. I have worked with that specifically. I've even helped people lighten their sleep, people who sleep so deeply that they, even in their 20s, wet the bed because they're not waking up. You can use hypnotherapy to help with something like that as well.
Okay, Chel, where can the listeners find you?
Probably the easiest place to find me is just to go to chelhamilton.com. And from there, I have a free ebook about 3 simple steps to help you rewire your brain, which talks a little bit more about this subconscious mind and the pictures that we make and how that programs it to do the thing that we don't want it to do in the first place. The link to the Meditation Minis podcast is there, and the link to check out, you can actually listen to the first track of the Mental Chill Project album for free and purchase it there on the website as well.
Okay. Now, one of my questions I ask all my guests is, given a couple hours to kill, what album or artist would you grab to listen to?
Well, first of all, I'm not super keen on the idea of killing time because time's the only thing I have.
Okay.
So I would reframe that into, if I had a couple of hours to just kind of chill with myself or get my happy on, what would I listen to? Can I answer it that way?
You can.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So if I wanted to chill out, I would definitely listen to Liquid Mind, MIND. Great albums. They definitely get my calm on, and they are all created by my now friend, Chuck Wild, who has been in several bands throughout his life, and he created Liquid Mind as the kind of soothing sounds to help his own journey with anxiety and panic attacks. And they are fantastic. A lot of times with that atmospheric music, I find that people sit on like a drone sound too much or like a beep, beep, beep too much, and it actually becomes very grating and irritating. And Chuck doesn't do any of that.
Okay.
And then if I want to get like some fun on, get some energy up, maybe I'm working on something and I need to keep my energy levels high, I tend to listen to either French rap or Italian rap. And the reason why is because I don't speak French or Italian. So I can listen to the music. I can have all of the energy. So Italian rap tends to be a little more upbeat than French rap. French rap tends to be a little sexier of a groove.
Okay.
So you just go on Spotify and literally type in like French rap.
French rap. I'll have to try that. That's interesting. French rap, or what was the other one?
Italian rap.
Italian rap.
It wouldn't work the same if you speak either of those languages, but since I don't, it works for me.
Okay. That's interesting.
And I found the Spanish rap mixes way too much English in, so I tend to stay away from that and stick with the French and the Italian.
Wow. Yeah, that's cool. Well, Chel, thank you for taking the time out today. I appreciate it very much, and I appreciate what you do, and I owe a lot of gratitude to you for getting me in this podcast realm.
Welcome to crazy podcasting world.
It's kind of interesting.
It's wonderful. What a great way to grow your business, share your message, help others. I mean, regardless of the downloads that I have had, even if I only had 100,000 downloads, in the years I've been doing this, the emails that I have gotten from listeners goes so beyond the download numbers. People writing, I had a guy write me and tell me that 16 years of therapy didn't help his anxiety as much as 3 weeks of listening to the podcast.
Wow.
Right?
That's crazy.
It is. Yeah. I have had people literally write me and say, you have saved my life, or you've saved my marriage, because I've been using the podcast. And that is the power of podcasting. And you do not need to have big numbers to make that kind of ripple effect change in the planet. And I love it. So I'm glad that you are on board, and I look forward to all the good that you are able to create as well.
Thank you. Where can they find your podcast at, by the way, besides the website?
It's
iTunes?
It's on iTunes and Stitcher. It's even on Spotify. You can search Meditation Minis on Spotify, and it's one of the few podcasts that is on Spotify currently, which I'm very lucky and blessed that was able to happen.
That's, good for you. And congratulations on your nomination.
Thank you.
Have an awesome summer.
Thank you, Tom. You have a fantastic summer and a wonderful week.
Thank you for joining in today with the Rebel Health Coach, Tom Underwood. And be sure to subscribe to the show so you can catch all the episodes. With desire and commitment, you can implement a lifestyle of wellness and fitness. For the support, encouragement, and tools you need to be successful, visit tomunderwood.net.